Hello and welcome back to Solid. My name is Jake. Thank you guys very much for joining me on what day is today. I'm never any good with this. April 26th. It is a Friday. It is about 5:45 p.m. And we got some talking to do. Number one, I care about this, so that means that you have to listen to me talk about it. Eagles got Quinyon Mitchell, and I'm the happiest boy in all the land. And that's where I'm at, re-signing A.J. Brown. I'm very happy. I just want to say that out loud so everybody knows. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for Battlehawks stuff. We got a reKAWp. We have a bird's eye preview coming to you. First and foremost, say this at the beginning of every show. If you're watching and you don't want to watch and you just want to listen, you got that option. It's on Apple and Spotify at Solid. If you're watching or if you're listening and you want to watch, hell yeah, dude. It's on YouTube. It is, I believe it's The Solid Pod, I believe is what it's called. I probably should just know that before I hawk it out there, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So you have options. If you don't want to look at this mug, I don't blame you. I look in the mirror way too much anyway, and it's not good. It's not good what I see. So yeah, if you want to listen, I get that. If you want to see what I'm talking about with looking in a mirror, you can do that too. That's my point. Anyway, let's get into this reKAWp of the Battlehawks beating the Memphis Showboats 32-17. In my reaction, I was very happy with this game. I was very happy, and then at the end of that reaction, I said, it's not always as good as it seems, and buddy, that is exactly this. Turns out if you're at the game, you get kind of like sucked into the whole thing, and you don't pay attention to some of the dumb bullshit that's happening. And I'm done with screens. I'm done with swing passes. I'm done with throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. I'm really done with it completely. Good God, does it stall a drive? Good God, does it stall a drive? I mean, there was so many of those, and I understand they're effective, dude. I get it, and they're winning these games. They're scoring a lot of points by having the screen game in there. But goddamn, is it really frustrating to see just screen pass after screen pass just get blown up, and they keep going back to it. Bruce Gradkowski's a really bad play caller. That's kind of the bottom line. And he's not a great play design. Maybe he does design good plays. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit for that. He's good at designing plays. Maybe the team's not great at executing some of those. But good golly, Miss Molly, the screen passes they've got to chill out with those. I brought it up on the before the Battlehawks were 20 for 23 of passes that were 5 yards or less. And that's the screens because they're incredibly high completion percentage. So it makes sense there. But it's just kind of some of the personnel and everything. There was one I've ragged on Darius Shepard for his inability to block. He did get a good block for Hakeem Butler on one. But there's another situation we got to talk about is the Blake Jackson of it all. If this Battlehawks offense has a running game that can work as well as it has been working, have Ja'Cour Pearson, Peasy, he's going by Peasy. I got to talk on this first, too, because I had this thought during the game. They said that he wants to go by Peasy now. Sure, if you want to go by Peasy, go by Peasy. That's totally fine. And I understand that I got to call him Peasy, but I don't like it. I just don't. And he's good enough to be able to deserve a nickname. Or change the name that he's going to go by. I'm totally fine with it. I personally not a fan. That's like when people call Devontae Smith Smitty. It's like I get it, and maybe if you're closer to Devontae Smith, calling him Smitty. Maybe if you're closer to Ja'Cour Pearson, calling him Peasy, I get that totally fine. I personally I feel gross saying it. I feel because number one, I'm 32, and Peasy that's a Snoop Dogg thing. It's Snoop Dogg adjacent, so I guess I should be more into it. But it just seems hokey to me when I say it. But if listen to this. Peasy got a 24-yard reception. It felt gross. It felt gross saying that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call him that as much as I can. I might call him number 1 because that's his number and such. But I'm going to try calling him Peasy. And I know that it's going to sound bad when I do it. Just know that I know that, and I don't like that I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it to respect the man's well wishes because he's very good. Going back to Blake Jackson. If Blake Jackson wanted me to call him Beezy, I wouldn't because I don't respect him. Blake Jackson, this game, 2 catches for -6 yards. And his long was -2, which is brutal. And I'll get to this when I get to the hot mic of the week. But at one point, this was during the drive where the Battlehawks missed a field goal. It was actually the third down play. There was a pass to go to Blake Jackson. By the way, he got 4 targets. I only caught half of them, and they were all bad, all negative yards. If you're hurting the team, you shouldn't play. But Blake Jackson misses a catch when AJ had a guy in his face. And at the end of the play, you could they heard it on the mic. Blake Jackson tells AJ McCarron to get the ball down. And AJ McCarron says, I can't. There's a D end there. We got to catch the ball every once in a while. Goddamn, sack up. And I love that. I love that a lot. That's great. That's a great thing to tell somebody. Blake Jackson, not exactly the kind of guy to kind of demand better from a quarterback. Buddy, I know that you were put in a bad situation when you caught 2 passes because you were behind the line of scrimmage, but you did get 4 targets and you didn't catch those 2. You just caught the 2 behind the line of scrimmage and then went further behind the line of scrimmage. Matter of fact, you actually ran the wrong way on one of them. As I brought up, that was kind of a theme in this game. I just, man, Blake Jackson ain't it. You got all these weapons. And you're gonna go to that guy. Not great. I don't know if these sounds are coming through. I just plugged my iPad in. I apologize if they did. And if they didn't, I probably just shouldn't have brought that up. But yeah, so the passing game, the short passing game, it is working, but buddy, it's ugly. One thing I did like at the beginning of the game, they interviewed Anthony Becht, and he said that he was calling plays specifically for Peasy. And I think that's the case. I mean, he did get 10 targets and 10 receptions. AJ McCarron's gone on record saying that he doesn't throw. They don't call plays specifically for people. He just throws the ball to whoever's open. I don't necessarily know if it's a correlation kind of thing. Ja'Cour Pearson is just open a lot. But I do like the idea of making sure you get a guy who's playing his first game to get that kind of a target share that early in the game. Let's see. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case in the future. I mean, he did spread the ball around. It was 10 balls to Peasy, 9 balls to Hakeem Butler, 4 balls to Darius Shepard. And Darius Shepard, man, he's just really good at catching a football. He just really is. Blocking, again, not great. Marcel Aitman is turning into, man, he could do a lot, can he? He can do a lot. There was he had 3 catches, and I believe 2 or all 3 of them were for first downs on third downs. He's very good, which is incredibly helpful because this offense, they set themselves up for failure with those screen passes, and then they just have these huge bailouts. Like they had 5 big plays this week, 426 yards, and that's fucking mondo. That's a really good thing. But I like the way that the aside from all the screens, and again, I understand the efficiency of them. I understand that they set up a lot of things and they take pass rushes away and make it's kind of a counterpunch while you're on offense. I understand the validity of all that. I just personally, not a fan. But other than that, the passing game was pretty good. Like I said, AJ McCarron was 35 for 45 for 222 yards, 3 touchdowns. The interception was kind of ugly. I believe that one was actually thrown to Marcel Aitman, and he kind of quit on a route. It was a bad throw. Not a bad throw. It was a bad decision by AJ. But if he makes one bad decision and unfortunately the defense capitalizes on it, that does suck. But in this league, a lot of quarterbacks make a lot of bad decisions. It's not the NFL. They ain't playing perfect. But for AJ to make only a handful of bad decisions in a game, and for one of them to come back, I think it's fine. Like I said, the defense ended up holding the offense. The defense ended up holding Memphis to a field goal after that, so that was good. Okay, as far as the rushing game goes, Jacob Sailors is good, man. That first game that he broke out, where I think he had 62 yards, a lot of that was because of good blocking. This game he did have good blocking in front of him, but buddy, I like the way he plays. I like the way he runs. He fights for every damn yard. Even if he's got a guy like a giant toddler wrapped up on his ankles behind the line of scrimmage, he throws his body forward. Like he tries to do like a standing broad jump forward or a high jump forward, and he tries so hard. He twists. There's a couple runs in this game where he's just makes first contact and then twists his body just like a torpedo, just over and over, and he ends up just getting like 5 or 6 more yards. Like the guy, he's very physical for how small he is. I really like the way that his game's developing, with just 4 games in. That's a good thing, and it is a very good thing because Mateo Durant is on the IR now. I believe it's a toe thing, maybe. That might have something to do with maybe he was dealing with something, and that's why he didn't. He had like He had like a 2-point conversion, maybe, or 1 play. He had 1 play that didn't get logged in the stats. Maybe it was a penalty, took it back. He only had 1 catch for 8 yards. I think he might have been dealing with something. Maybe it got worse this game, but he's on the IR now. I don't know how long he's going to be there for. NFL is 4 weeks. I don't know what it is in the UFL, but that is kind of a kick in the dick. So it looks like it's going to be the Jacob Sailors show from here on out, with Wayne Gallman being the big bruising running back to back him up. So at least after we know what Mateo Durant did in week 2 and somewhat in week 3, it's like to have the hype and the hopes be that high on that guy, and then for him to be gone. At least Jacob Sailors is right there with him. I think Jacob Sailors might actually be a more physical running back than Mateo Durant. But he had a great game. Like I said, 15 carries for 103 yards. That long run of 57 yards. Oof. Buddy, I like the way he plays. He made contact. He was just breaking through some guys, and he's not the biggest guy. Man, it's pretty impressive. Average 6.9 yards per carry. I believe, I'm looking it up now, if I go to the player stats for the UFL, rushing, yes, Jacob Sailors has the most rushing yards in the UFL, and let's see. He is tied for 10th, which this isn't exactly fair. I wonder if I can add I'm not going to do this. Condition, let's see, yards, average yards. Never mind. Unless I can do carries, attempts, condition, greater than or equal to, let's say, 10 carries. Let's see if I add that condition in there. Nope, this is too confusing for me. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. But my point is that he has a very good, like he's in the top average yards per carry is my point there. He is I'm sorry, this is awful to listen to. Here's the condensed thought. Jacob Sailors, if we're talking about people who have carried the ball more than 10 times, he is 5th in yards per carry, behind Mateo Durant, Matt Corral, the Stallions quarterback, E.J. Perry, the Panthers quarterback, and Adrian Martinez, the other Stallions quarterback. So he's the second. The Battlehawks have both the first and second running backs who have the best yards per carry. That's my point. That was awful to listen to, and I'm sorry that you had to do that. If you wanted to turn it off, I'm totally fine with that. That was a dumb thought. But my point is, Mateo Durant out. Jacob Sailors is more than qualified to be the lead RB. And honestly, if Mateo Durant came back, I'm not entirely sure Jacob Sailors would not be the RB1. So that was good. AJ McCarron using his legs, watching it back the second time. He's a weapon now. He's a weapon now with that. like there was the 2-point conversion that he went down just a yard short, but we didn't see that from him last year. We didn't see that from him. Like, this is 3 games in a row where he's consistently picking up 5-6 yards a carry. It's very good. It's a very good thing that he's doing. Offensive line, they played good. They had a few penalties on them. Let's see if I can pull up those penalties. Penalties. They had holding. They had 2 holds and then that illegal block above the waist. The 2 holds were kind of a kick in the dick. They set back some drives. And I believe that is largely why they kind of started. I don't want to say they started slow, but it was just ugly, man. It was just kind of like an ugly first half of this game by the Battlehawks offense. Like, yes, they were getting points, but the drives seemed kind of like, I don't want to say monotonous, but it didn't seem to flow as well as I thought it did. And then in the third quarter, they didn't really get anything going until the end of the third quarter. The game, watching it, man, it was much more fun watching it like the first time than it was rewatching it, knowing what was going to happen, and then being like, well, this isn't how I remember this. This is not how I remember this happening. They were explosive. They scored 32 points. Why am I so frustrated watching this? It was brutal. Like that missed field goal drive, man, that was brutal. It was a 10-play drive. But there was just some real weird that had the reKAWp running backwards on a screen pass where he ended up getting like 2 yards after the carry, but he ran like 25 yards. That was one of the Blake Jackson like 6-yard tackles for a loss. I don't know. There was AJ McCarron actually in that. He was like, "What are these calls? Let's call the normal shit." His words were, "Let's call the normal shit." I don't know. It was kind of frustrating on offense, knowing what the final product was and being like, this offense is much more explosive. They're getting really hampered by the Bruce Gradkowski play calls, which is kind of a bummer. But as far as offense go, I think, let me just make sure I don't have any other notes. A lot of my notes are just how funny AJ McCarron is. I think that's what a lot of them are. I think I had to type something at one part. The reKAWp fumble, that was a freak fumble. I don't think that's going to be a thing for him, because before he fumbled that ball, he absolutely truck sticked a guy, and he's like 4'7". Like, he's a very small guy, and he absolutely truck sticked a guy, and then he ran into a guy in contact, and he came down on top of the guy, and the guy stripped the ball while he was on top of him. It's like, damn it, that would have been really good. It was a 24-yard catch, but he ended up fumbling it. I don't know, kind of a kick in the dick there. There was the Jake Saylor springs himself loose for the 57-yard run, follows a blocker that's now the longest run in the XFL. There was the scramble drills is another huge thing. The way that AJ McCarron is just being able to be in the same mind as his wide receivers and his pass catchers. He just says stay alive, and that's exactly what's happening. There was the scramble drill. There was one to Darius Shepard, which we know that's going to hit. There was one to Hakeem Butler, we know that's going to hit. There was one to reKAWp for the touchdown in the corner of the end zone, and that was great. That was great by Peasy. Sorry, that was great by Peasy. I don't like saying it. That was great by Peasy. It was they were playing man, and he makes just 2 guys just look like buffoons. He makes 2 guys fall to the ground and catches it easy, wide open in the corner of the end zone, with AJ kind of directing him. There was I call it a scramble drill if you want. It was an off-script play, the touchdown to Jake Sutherland, where AJ bails out to the right, and it looks like he's going to tuck it, and he's got like 3 defenders in between him and Jake Sutherland. He does a pump fake, makes all 3 of them bite, and then Jake Sutherland is just wide open in the end zone. These scramble drills are really something spectacular. They're really, this is impressive. And watching all these other UFL games, that's not a thing, man. That's not a thing. Like, a lot of times when it comes into these broken plays, these quarterbacks are taking off and running. And we know AJ can do that. It's not exactly his favorite. Well, now we know he can do that, but he's more of a guy to do that whenever he's got like a big wide open space. A lot of these other UFL quarterbacks are taking the ball, tucking it, and trying to make people miss. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. When it's against the Battlehawks, they often do make people miss, or they just have a wide wide open lane. But the way that AJ McCarron's making all these people bite on him and come forward on him, and then his pass catchers are making people miss and catching balls that are highly contested and low percentage throws. Man, it's a really impressive thing to see, and I'm glad that the Battlehawks are actually. I mean, they're doing, like, they're converting big plays. They're scoring on these plays. It's really, really good to see. State of the offense, I would say they're explosive. They have a lot of tools. They're just getting hamstrung by some really moron play calls. Just some really, really dumb play calls. Man, that's kind of the bummer here. Other than that, grading the offense, I would give them actually, for a 32-point game, I would give them a B+. And I don't think it's a talent on the field. It's just the brains that's making the map for it. That's kind of my thing there. As far as defense goes, so like I said, they got the shutout in the second half. That's a very good thing. Very glad that they got a shutout in the second half. They got lucky on some of these plays, man. That Sage Surratt, the Showboat's tight end, missed two or three passes where he had some room to run at the end there. What's his name? Dawood Davis missing some balls where he's deep. On one of them, he did get held, but he probably still could have made it to the ball. It ended up being a holding, but I'll take a hold on that rather than a 45-yard run or a 45-yard catch and run for a touchdown. Do that any day of the week. But the defense did get awful lucky there. They played really sloppy at the beginning of the game. They, like I said, they're running into each other. They weren't staying true to their gaps in the running game, and that was a problem. And it sucked that it happened at the beginning of the game, because if it's at the end of the game, it's easy to be like, okay, this defense is getting run on. It's because they're tired, because they don't have a good rotation on the defensive line, because they got it stuff like that. It would be very nice to say that was the reason why, but they just couldn't affect the running game at the beginning of the game, man. Darius Victor, that Showboat's running back, who's just that guy's a pudge, man. That guy's a pudge, isn't he? He's 5'7", 230 pounds. He's a chode. He's a coffee cake. He's just a chode is what he is. He's as tall as he is round. That guy, wow. But he was a bowling ball, and he just kept hitting the holes and hitting them hard. And then he would take his momentum, and guys were not tackling very good. Looking at you, Willie Harvey, again. But he would hit guys, and I brought this up last year. I don't think I brought it up this year. But whenever you're talking about a running back or anybody with the ball, that being the hammer, not the nail, what that kind of comes down to in the game is that, say, thank God Darius Victor is not 6 feet tall. Like if sorry, cough. If a running back hits a linebacker, they're going to fall some direction. And if you're the hammer, like Darius Victor was, you're hitting these guys and you're getting tackled, but you're also gaining an extra yard, 2 or 3 yard, extra yard or two whenever you're going down. So luckily, Darius Victor, not a big guy, so when he's falling, he's only gaining 1.5 yards, or roughly, obviously. But he kept doing that. And they seemed like going into halftime that Showboat's offense was in a really good spot. I mean, the Battlehawks were only up, it was at 20-17 at halftime. Seemed like if the Showboats could have been able to keep that going, it would have been something handy for them. Luckily, the defense nutted up at the end. There was, like I said, they had players running into each other. The Battlehawks defense did. It was actually Chris Payton Jones. It was right after Case Cookus threw a deep ball to Dawood Davis that Dawood Davis didn't come down with. But Chris Payton Jones, next play, they're lined up in man. The guy that he's lined up across goes into motion, and the safety, I believe, was it Cam Kelly, comes down. It gets in Chris Payton Jones' way. Chris Payton Jones hits Cam Kelly, spins off of Cam Kelly right into Lakeem Williams, takes out 2 defenders. One defender takes out 2 defenders. That's 3. I've done math. That's 3 guys got taken out of that play. And then Darius Victor runs for like 10, 12 yards or something like that on that play, right where those guys were supposed to be. So it's not good. You don't want a cornerback taking out a safety and a linebacker in the same play. That was a big old dumb, stupid, dumbass head move right there. It was very sloppy. They picked it up in the second half. Like I said, they did get some luck. But they kind of made their luck because they did take out Case Cookus. Is his name Chris Garrett, I believe. Chris Garrett, linebacker, strip sacked Case Cookus, and then who was it? Antoine Jackson absolutely fucking wrecks him and just blows up his shoulder. God, yeesh, takes him out, and then all of a sudden it was the Troy Williams show. And Troy Williams is not a good quarterback. I thought he was going to be more dangerous with his legs. He really wasn't. On third downs, the defense played some lockdown coverage, got some pressure in the backfield, forced Troy Williams to tuck the ball and run. And if you can get somebody to a third and long and force the quarterback to run for 3 yards, buddy, I'm all for that. So they did play much better in the second half. Some of it probably had to do with less of a quarterback. Troy Williams, he just couldn't get the ball out quick enough, and he was getting pressure all up in his face, whereas Case Cookus can stand there and zip the ball out. And they started doing that, and then they got away from the run game, and they just things kind of compounded on the showboats, and it ended up with John DeFilippo quitting at the end of the game. So that was a good thing. Did I have anything else on this defensive line? Carson Wells is good. That's a very, very happy with that. Good way to come in for Pita Tomapenu, who should be back this week. He practiced in full yesterday. Before the end of the show, I'll make sure I go on Twitter and see if they have released any of the transactions, the actives, inactives, or anything like that. Willie Harvey had a, once again, real hit and miss kind of game. There was one play, luckily Lavert Hill and Askew Henry stuck, I believe it was Dawood Davis, or it was Vinny Papale, right at the stick, stuck him. But Willie Harvey was there too, but just absolutely whiffed on a 3-man gang tackle. And the two defensive backs ended up stopping the guy, which is good. But God damn it, Willie, let's get it together. On the flip side of that, on a punt return, on a punt, he flew down the field and lit a guy up. It's like, what? I just don't get it with him. He plays so fast, and it is good, and he's a missile who doesn't know how to aim. He's North Korea. That is, Willie Harvey is North Korea. I'm comfortable saying that. So that's the defense. That's the offense. Did I talk defensive line yet? They didn't really have any push at the beginning, caused that running game to be able to go. In the second half, they were able to kind of get after the quarterback, which is good. Brought all that up. I think that's good coaching-wise. Brought up Bruce Gradkowski and how he's being a little dumbass with his play calls. Anthony Becht, man, I can't get this. I can't get over this spike at the end of the first half. The spike at the end of the first half where the Battlehawks ended up kicking a field goal. So they hit Ja'Cour Pearson. Okay, so before going into that drive, Anthony Becht got interviewed on the sideline. His quote was, "We have 3 timeouts. I'm going to be aggressive as heck here." Coward, cuss. You've always cussed. Everybody's cussing. Why would you say heck? Don't act like you're holier than thou. Say I'm going to be as aggressive as fuck. I'm going to be aggressive as shit. Like, come on, don't do heck. I trust my guys. Hell, you know what? Even in an interview after Ja'Cour Pearson got his touchdown, he dropped a hard F-bomb. He said, but what did he say? Did I write it down? I should have wrote it down. He said, "Can't be fucked with. We can't be fucked with." Just right while he's sitting on the bench with a microphone in his face, he just says, "We can't be fucked with." And then you got Anthony Becht saying, "We're going to be as aggressive as heck here." Okay, he says, "We have 3 timeouts. I'm going to be as aggressive as heck here. I trust my guys. We go over this scenario twice a week. Should do it more than twice a week. Big Tone. You should do 2-minute scenarios every day. That's what you should do every day. You should. Every coach ever has been like, yeah, we do red zone offense at the end of every practice. That's how we end practice is red zone offense." And he says we do it we do this twice a week. red zone offense and your play calling and not sorry, red zone offense. 2-minute drills should be done every day. Your 2-minute drill brain has been terrible. I believe every single game he's had a boneheaded 2-minute decision. In week 1 he decided to go for 1 rather than go for 3. Week 2. I can't remember what he did, but he did something stupid. I can't remember what they all are because they're compounding. They're getting a lot of them, but he just does all these dumbass things in 2 minutes. But okay, so they start off the 2-minute drill good. Don't call a timeout until they get a first down. That's good. Hit Peasy for 24 yards, and then AJ McCarron runs up there and spikes it. And the broadcast didn't mention it. The broadcast didn't even show it. It wasn't even on. It wasn't even on the copy. So, like, if you're just watching that game at home, it goes from a first down to being a 2nd and 10, and you're like, I don't know what the hell happened. AJ's talking to one of the refs because the nose tackle was calling out the cadence, which is an illegal thing. Nobody ever paid attention to it. And for Beck to say we have 3 timeouts, then fucking use them, jackass. You just had a big gain instead of you know how easy it is to just to make a T with your hands. You know how much that's so easy than having your offensive line run up 30 yards and have to get down in a stance and then not jump. That's so much easier to just let them breathe. Just do the timeout. You have them. Use them. You brought it up. You brought it up, dumbass. You brought it up. If you bring it up, then you should know. You do know. You're very aware of how many timeouts that you have, and you brought 2 timeouts into halftime, and it was after the spike. It was 2 incomplete passes, and it's just man, it's frustrating. This guy, it's so frustrating. This guy, I don't know. It's very dumb. I'm wondering because with the amount of times that AJ McCarron is giving Bruce Gradkowski shit for bad play calls, which he did a lot. He said, "What the fuck are we calling here? Let's run the normal shit. What are these play calls? Get the play calls in. What the fuck is this? Get the fucking play calls in." Like he said that was a bad call. Like when he threw the ball to Blake Jackson one time on one play, and he says that was a bad call when he gets off the field. It was a 3rd down, and he throws a ball to Blake Jackson, who doesn't come down with it, and he says that was a bad call. I don't know. It was very dumb. No. That was a Blake Jackson end around on a 3rd and 1. Which is that is a bad play call. You've been running the ball well. It's in the second half. You're running the ball well. Jake Sailors is getting going, and they do an end around with Blake Jackson, who doesn't get the first down. Actually gets tackled for like a 2-yard loss. It's so stupid. I don't know. But my point is that I'm wondering if like they sat AJ down and are like, hey man, you can't freelance. You can't call your own plays. And Becta's like, if you get up there, spike the ball. And AJ's like, okay, I'll do that. I won't call my own play. Or I won't call a timeout. Like maybe the coaching staff's like, let the coaches be coaches. You be a quarterback. And if that's the case, you're hampering one of your best tools. Again, I don't know if that's the case. I'm just kind of guessing here, but there's a real possibility that's the case. Okay. I think the coaches are dumb. Awards. reKAWp of the week. reKAWp of the week is obviously there's the award that goes to the player that played the best. I don't give it to quarterbacks for being a quarterback. Otherwise, I go to AJ McCarron every single game. This one, Jacob Sailors rushed for 103 yards. Gonna give it to him. He has the longest run in the UFL. Jacob Sailors, reKAWp of the week. This is a very easy one. Of the week. Again in the reaction, I was like, I hope there's something that really stands out about somebody that did something dumb, and I gotta give it to Bruce Gradkowski for dumb play calls. I got to. I stand with AJ. If AJ's calling out Bruce Gradkowski, if a player on the field that's mic'd up is calling out Bruce Gradkowski for bad play calls, the one guy on offense that's mic'd up, everybody else on that offense is like, what the fuck are we doing with this? So I'm giving it to Bruce Gradkowski. Gets of the week. Worst performance of the game, Bruce Gradkowski. One thing I will say going for Bruce Gradkowski, I told them that they should do this, and they did it. In week 2, the camera that he had set up in front of him, especially when he did that chaos play. That's one of the plays that he did where he had the tackles line up outside like wide receivers and block on you guessed it, screen. He was standing there all smug with his arms crossed, and the camera angle was terrible. Made him look like a real schlub. he got a different camera angle now. So good for you, BG, on focusing on the things that matters. Make yourself look better on the camera. Don't focus on play calling. Certainly don't do that, dumbass. Okay, so that's cacaw of the week, of the week, cacoward of the week. Cacoward of the week. I think I have to give I got to give cacoward of the week to John DiFilippo for quitting. I got to. I want to give it to Becht for doing the what the heck, or I know we're going to be aggressive as heck. I want to give it to him for that, but John DiFilippo quitting and essentially ending his season, I got to give it to John DiFilippo. Coward. John DiFilippo, you're a coward. Hot mic of the week. Buddy, do we have... This was an all-time game by AJ. This was an all-time game by AJ. All-time game by AJ. I think I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to save that one for last. But this, okay. At one point, he says, let's call the normal shit. Love that, because it's disparaging BG. I mentioned there's a DN there. We got to catch the ball every once in a while. Goddamn, sack up. Not necessarily a hot mic thing, but it's still a very funny thing to say to somebody. What play is this is a good one. What the fuck are we calling is a good one. That was a bad call is a good one. Sorry. At one point, I think it was Wayne Gallman lined up on the wrong side, lined up on the left of AJ, and it was a run to the left. And the play call was Larry, so that means that he's running the ball to the left. But Wayne Gallman lined up on the left, so AJ looks at him and says, "Larry, it's Larry. Get the fuck over here," and then shoves him to the other side of him. That was a very funny one. There was one time. Bruce Gradkowski got a play call in very late. And I think somebody ended up hitting A.J. McCarron on this bad play. And A.J. just said, "You motherfuckers," which is good. So those are all good ones. But the one that I believe has to win it, this is on the drive, that worst drive that I talked about with the missed field goal. Hakeem Butler gets tackled. Goes down. He's laying on the ground rubbing his eye, and somebody pulls him up to get him to go back to the huddle. And Hakeem Butler says, "Motherfucker got me in the eye." And I believe that it's A.J. McCarron says, "Fuck your eye." What a back and forth. What a back and forth this is. It's amazing TV. If you are not watching these games, tell your friends. Tell your friends just to watch them for the dialogue. This is, you might have thought Game of Thrones had good dialogue. No. A.J. McCarron has the best dialogue on TV right now. "Motherfucker got me in the eye. Fuck your eye." It's so good. That's such a good, just wide receiver without an eye. Fuck your eye. You only need one of them. God damn, that's good. So that's going to win Hot Mic of the Week. Hot Mic of the Week goes to a back and forth between Hakeem Butler and I believe it would be A.J. McCarron. "Motherfucker got me in the eye. Fuck your eye." God, I love that. So that is Hot Mic of the Week. Dumb stupid ass of the week is going to go to Chris Payton-Jones for running into two people, effectively taking three people out of the play. That's an easy one too. Big old donkey kick of the week. Let's see. Was there any Mondo field goals here? I'm on special teams field goals. A 54-yarder is a good one by Andre Schmidt. He did miss a 45-yarder. Yeah, donkey kick of the week is going to go to Andre Schmidt. 54 yards is really good for this league. The fact that Jake Bates got a 64-yarder is kind of disgusting, but I'm not going to take away a 54-yarder. That's a big old donkey kick of the week. There was no huge punts or anything like that. Darius Shepard, again, I didn't bring this up. He's got to bring one back at some point. He's got to return one. He had a 60-yard return, 173 return yards, 173 all-purpose yards and 128 return yards. 60-yard return. Get out of town. So that's good. That's where we're at. And then Chonko Boy of the Week has got to go to Darius Victor. So hey, listen, we got a few new awards here. But that is where we are at with the reKAWp. That is the end of the reKAWp. I'm going to reKAWp, not reKAWp, reKAWp. I'm going to take a drink of water. We're going to get into the bird's eye preview for week 5. Okay. I don't know why I had to announce that, but I did. And that's where we're at. Okay. So, in week 5, the Battlehawks, your Battlehawks, are going to the DC Defenders to play them, and I'm looking up the time of the game right now. Week 5, your Battlehawks are going to the Defenders at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Yuck. Yuck, says I. That's a gross time for a game, but could be beneficial, okay? The Defenders are currently 2-2, so this is, for all intents and purposes, not even for all intents, just in reality. I'm disgusting. I announce when I'm taking a drink of water and then I burp. Why do you listen to this? Why do you listen to this gross? Okay, Battlehawks are going to DC to play at 11 o'clock on Sunday. The game will be on ESPN. It being an early game, we just saw it with our game. The 11:30 game, there was 9,000 less people at the game. In the first home game for the Battlehawks, there's 40,000 people. Second game, there's 31,000 people. The game was at 11:30. I think that those two things are correlated. The timing of the games. DC Defenders have never lost a home game. That's the case. They are 2-2. Whoever wins this game will be in first place. They would both be 3-2 if the Battlehawks lose, and the Defenders would obviously have the head-to-head tiebreaker over them. If the Battlehawks win this, they're going to be 4-1. Defenders are 2-3. That's going to be a great thing. The Defenders head coach is I had it written down. Do I not have it written down? Their head coach is shouldn't have even brought it up because I don't remember. But their defensive coordinator is Greg Williams. Dr. Heat, baby. If you've been listening since last year, I love me some Dr. Heat because that guy is a dumbass. Greg Williams, very long defensive coordinator, aggressive as absolute hell. If you remember a couple years ago, the Oakland Raiders, or were they Vegas Raiders at that point? Can't remember. They were playing the Jets. Greg Williams was the Jets defensive coordinator. All he has to do is make sure call a defense that makes it so the Raiders can't score on the very last play. The very last play, it's like a 40-yard. They're like 40 yards out or something like that. So Dr. Heat, Greg Williams, self-proclaimed Dr. Heat, he calls himself that. He called himself that at one point. And if you say a dumb name like that, if you name yourself that, if you give yourself a dumb nickname at any point, that's what I'm going to call you forever because it's very funny and humiliating. Anyway, Raiders had to go like 40 yards in one play. They only had the one play. There's like 5 seconds left on the clock. Normal life, you'd be like, okay, play prevent defense. Line and have every defensive back that you have on the inside the 15-yard line. Make sure that this ball doesn't go in the end zone. Only rush 3 guys. Prevent defense. That's a perfect and only time for it. Instead, Greg Williams, Dr. Heat, calls man pressure with one high safety, and it's one of the easiest touchdown passes that I've ever seen, and the Jets lose that game. Greg Williams is very dumb. So that's what we have to deal with here. He's very aggressive. Their quarterback is Jordan Ta'amu, who we know him because he was a Battlehawk for 4 games, and people really have attached themselves to Jordan Ta'amu, even though he only played 4 games in St. Louis. And I can't quite comprehend that. Like, I see people at the game still wearing Jordan Ta'amu jerseys. And I get it. Jerseys are expensive. You're going to wear a jersey, fuck it, wear a jersey that you bought 4 years ago. I'm not trying to wealth shame anybody. I'm not a wealthy man. But it still just seems weird because he's been a DC Defender for the majority of his spring football career. Jordan Ta'amu is not as good as he's good, but he's not as good as he has been the last couple times that we've seen him. When he was with the Battlehawks, yes, he was good. When he was with the DC Defenders last year, yes, he was good. He's very mobile. This year, I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on. Yes, he can still use his legs. He still uses his legs like crazy. He's still good at scrambling, getting out of the pocket and making moves. When he's throwing, when he's running, he's very accurate. He's good with that. But he just doesn't seem like he has the zip that he had before, like with his legs. It doesn't seem like he has all the horses there. I don't know if that's like an injury thing or just an age thing, but it doesn't quite seem like it's completely there. He's not exactly been accurate on his deep shots this season. Let's see how their offense ranks passing wise. As far as yards, they are sixth in the league with only 742 passing yards. What the thing is that they want to run the ball. This offense wants to establish the run very early on and just keep powering through with the run. That's kind of their strength. And then supplement that with some big passes. That's what they want to do. They have this guy on their team, Kelvin Harmon. Great. He's not a great big guy. He's not Hakeem Butler or anything like that, but he is a big guy. He's good. He's good at making contested catches. He gets his body in the way. He's good. He's good. He's scary. They have this other guy, Vincent Smith, who's kind of their speed guy, kind of their field stretcher. That's the guy that Tamu wants to throw the deep balls to. Those are kind of their only two dangerous pass catching weapons, but they are good. Again, it's not their go-to. It's not the Battlehawks. It's not their go-to where they want to throw the ball and then run. They really want to establish the run, and they do that with this guy, Cameron Harris, and this other guy that they just picked up, Zakondre White. We don't have to deal with that Abrams guy. I think what was his name, Jonathan Abrams, maybe. I think is what his name was last year. He was really good. That guy tore his ACL in the off season or during training camp or something like that. So it really is just this Cameron Harris and Zakondre White. Zakondre White's good. He's the smaller of the two backs. And I say smaller, he's not a small guy, but Cameron Harris is a fucking tank, man. Like that guy, he wants to play for contact. He loves contact. He loves running some guys over. That's kind of what he does. He's like what we saw with that, what is his name, Darius Vincent. Is that who I just was talking about with the showboats? He's not a bowling ball like that. Like this guy's a big guy. He's like 6 feet tall, but he plays very powerful. He likes to run through people. So that's kind of where their running game is going to come from. Again, the other guy they have is Zakondre White. He's kind of new to them. I've only seen him the one time, but he's a little bit shiftier of a running back. They kind of go through that Cameron Harris. He did get a little bit dinged up last week, but I don't think I saw him on the injury report or anything like that, or what has come out yet. So that's kind of the way that they go through their offense. Again, Jordan Tamu, not necessarily the guy. He's good, like I said, good throwing on the run. He gets pretty affected by pressure, which I mean, I know that is like oh yeah, a guy gets affected by pressure. Luis Perez did not really get affected by pressure, so it's not every single quarterback. The problem with Jordan Tamu getting affected by pressure is him rolling out and everything. He's still good there, but he is very hittable. He's very hittable. He doesn't slide very well. So the defense, if they want to get this game and affect this game very early on, number one, first downs are going to be key. Not letting them have success on a first down, because they're just going to play bully ball if they can do that. So stop the run on first down. Have a play that's not successful on first down, and then also touching Jordan Tamu. Got to make sure you do that. Make him know. Make the defensive line has to let Jordan Tamu know that they're there. They have and they have to do it in an incredibly physical way. Make it so he's afraid to run. Make it so he's afraid to actually tuck that ball. Because again, we haven't seen it because we haven't necessarily seen a super duper good running quarterback since week one with that EJ Perry for Michigan, who that guy's hurt now too because he runs and he's not very big. But we saw him chew up this defense on his legs. Jordan Tamu definitely has a potential to do that. We kind of know that about him though because he did that last year. But his pass catchers are not as good. Like he doesn't have as many good pass catchers as he did last year. Just two guys who are pretty good. So make sure that you let Jordan Ta'amu know that you're there. That is their running game. That is their pass catchers. That is their running backs. Their offensive line. I was trying to think of the right way to say this when I was watching it. It's the right side of their line is consistently better than the left side of their line. The left side of their line lets in a lot of pressure, but they can also be very stalwart. The right side of the line lets in some pressure. They do, but not as often, if that makes sense. So the left side of the line is going to be more important here. Whether I think I saw Travis Feeney might have been on the injury report this week. But that would be Travis Feeney's side. Pita Taumoipenu obviously coming from the right side. He's going to have his work cut out for him. But I believe in those two guys. If Travis Feeney does go out and Carson Wells does come in, we've seen Carson Wells has played well. He was getting in the face of the quarterback last week, got a sack last week. I think that Carson Wells can be more than serviceable as if he has to take a brunt of the workload. So it's going to come down to those edge rushers. They're going to have to make sure that they can also play sideways. Pita Taumoipenu is very good at that because he's fast. So that's good. But their offensive line is good at run blocking. They move people really well. The game that they just played, I should have said this. They played the Birmingham Stallions. The game was a lot closer than it should have been. The Birmingham Stallions won 20-18. But the Birmingham Stallions they're a good team, and the defenders were kind of just moving the Stallions offensive line pretty easily early on in the game. Now, caveat for that game, and I've watched the DC Defenders game, so this is kind of a culmination of everything that I've seen, not just me reporting on what I just saw from there last week. The game was a piss storm. It was fucking raining the entire time. There's an hour and like half rain or lightning delay during the game, and they came out and it's still raining. It really only wasn't raining for the first 5 minutes of game, and then like the half of the fourth quarter is when it was not raining. Like I said, that game was a lot closer than it should have been. Birmingham fumbled the ball twice in the red zone in the first half, and not because the defenders were getting after them. It was just like botched handoffs, and then they put the ball on the ground, and the defenders' defense was able to kind of to take advantage of that. And that's kind of the way that this defense is. If I had one word to describe the defenders' defense, it's that they're opportunistic. They're incredibly opportunistic, which is kind of what they have to do when they are playing so much man coverage. They get after the ball. Trying to think of the best way to start this. Their defensive line, once again, two games in a row, is easily their best position group on defense. They have a lot of meat up there. They have a lot of meat. There's this guy 72 that they have. I don't know his name, but number 72, he's a problem. He gets double teamed on damn near every single play. He's a big old chonko boy. And they can get some really good penetration. Again, Birmingham Stallions, a good team. They had a lot of trouble establishing any kind of run with their running back against the defenders. Their running back, Ricky Person, 11 carries for 57 yards. Like, he ended up like kind of chewing it up and everything, but it took them a long time to be able to get to that point. There's a lot of kind of like longer drives to really wear them out. And that Stallions rushing, like they're the best in the UFL at running. Let's see if I can pull this up. They have 562 yards on the season. They average 4.5 yards per carry, which is second behind the Battlehawks. But they have a really good running game. They have a really strong offensive line, and they had some problems with this DC defensive line. Behind the defensive line, there's not a whole lot going on. They have this this one linebacker who I don't think is going to play with long hair. Bernard is his name. He plays very flat-footed. He's the linebacker. Again, I don't think we're going to see him. I think I don't think he's practiced yet this week. But they have this other linebacker, number 57. I don't know his name. Yeah, I don't know that guy's name, but number 57. Look for number 57. He plays fast. He gets around. He's like if Willie Harvey tackled. But you kind of easily scheme him away, especially with the number of weapons that the Battlehawks do have. The defensive backs, on the other hand, they play a lot of man. Like I said, Greg Williams loves him some man coverage. This is not a defense that can really stick around and play man coverage. They're not talented. They have that Michael Joseph, which is a guy they brought back last year who it seemed like he got an interception every single week. It seems like he's kind of taken a step back. I had another number, or was it just his number? Okay. Number 43 I wrote as slow. Number 24, one of their outside corners, got beaten man all kinds of ways. But it was a wet game, and the wide receivers weren't really coming down with the ball that well. But number 24, Kelly, that guy, he's not very good. He's going to be able to get beat. And then that Michael Joseph, he actually did get hurt for a little bit in this game and ended up coming back in. I don't think that's going to be something that comes along in this game. I don't think that injury is gonna stick with him. He kind of just like came down on somebody's foot and it took him out for a little bit. But I don't know, man. The way that this Battlehawks offense is set up very well to kind of decimate the defender's defense. That's what we're looking at here. We got a bunch of big, tall guys. Don't try to do weird plays. If they play man so much, maybe we won't see some screens. That would be very nice if they decided not to do screens because of the amount of man looks that they're getting. But because of the man looks, they're able to kind of spread out the defense. They might be able to get a little bit of a running game going. Some outside zone runs could potentially work there. It would be kind of tough because along with that man coverage that Dr. Heat uses, he brings all kinds of weirdo pressures. So that's going to be a problem. But like I said, use the tools. Take what the defense gives you, but don't be afraid to push it because these defensive backs, they're just not that good. They've allowed the most passing yards in the entire UFL. They allow 11.1 yards per catch. That's nuts. That's what I'm saying. The amount of this defensive line, we just saw the offensive line play really well against a good defensive line last week against the Showboats. This defensive line is better. The defender's defensive line is better, but I believe that I've turned the offense on this Battlehawks offense can certainly hold this defender's defensive line at bay. I really do think that they can. When they can't, I think it's going to get ugly because those guys, those pass rushers get back there. I hardly ever saw just like one guy chasing around a quarterback. It was always like two or three. They really swarmed on quarterbacks when they get in the backfield. But use your receivers the way that you should use them. Use Darius Shepard as a possession guy. Let him have man-beating routes. Use Hakeem Butler to be a big guy. Just don't do weird shit. As A.J. McCarron famously said last weekend, call the normal shit. That's all we need to do. And this can be a win. Again, defenders have never lost at home. It's an early game. They're still going to be there. They're still going to get drunk and make a snake, which I love. I love the cup snake. I think that's still going to happen. I think it'll be a close game. The Battlehawks are favorited by 3.5 points right now. But I think keys to the game offensively, keys to the game defensively are be strong on first down and make sure that you get touches on Jordan Ta'amu. On offense, I think it's going to be a big Hakeem Butler game. I think there are going to be spots there for Ja'Cour Pearson to really break things off. They allow crazy amounts of yak. But I think that this will be a big Hakeem Butler and big Marcel Aitman game. That's kind of my prediction for this. My prediction for the score as a whole. Let's see. Defenders are averaging 20.5 yards per game. I think that they're going to get more than that. I think that this game ends up being defenders 24, Battlehawks 29. 24-29 is how this game's going to go. Your St. Louis Battlehawks are going to win 29-24. Give DC their first loss at home. Man, this offense can just be really, really good. It can be really, really good if Bruce reKAWp doesn't get in the way. If Bruce reKAWp does get in the way and ends up being some goddamn stupid bullshit, I think it'll end up being 24-22. But if Bruce reKAWp wakes up one day, looks in a mirror, and says, "You are ugly. You are an ugly man. You're kind of fine at designing plays. You're dog shit at calling them." If Bruce reKAWp did that at some point during this game, or if A.J. McCarron just straight up said those things and Bruce reKAWp didn't have to say them to himself, if A.J. McCarron walks up to him and says, "You're ugly. You're a very ugly man. You are fine at designing plays. You're dog shit at calling them." If A.J. says that to him as well, then I think that there's a real chance here that the Battlehawks can put up some points here. But my prediction, again, 29-24, your Battlehawks are going to win, and they are going to progress to 4-1, be at the top of the XFL conference with a comfortable lead at that point. And I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a fun way to start a Sunday. Is that everything that I have? Did you know that the Eagles drafted Quinion Mitchell and he was the first quarterback or cornerback that was drafted yesterday? That's fucking crazy. The draft is on right now. I'm going to go. I'm going to watch that. You guys, thank you very much for listening or watching. Solid. My name is Jake. Your Battlehawks are going to win. It's going to be a fun game. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be fun. That's where we're at. Again, thank you for watching. I'll be back with you after the game. Go Battlehawks, reKAWp, go Iron Birds, go team, baby. Talk to you later.